What's good, YouTube? It's your man Rage King back with another one. Yes, another upload to the channel. And before we get started, XBR, please go down there and hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that share button, hit that bell for notifications if you're new. Welcome to Rebel Rage TV. This is how we do Rage and Rebels. Crown up. And if you're new to the crew, welcome to the Rage and Rebel Revolution. Now let's vibe, and y'all, we got to talk about something, man. We got to talk about something that's been on my mind just a wee bit, man. Just a little bit, man. So, there's articles, there's posts, there's other different ways of information and social media outlets that have been talking about this particular game. And this particular game having a significant, a tremendous drop-off in player base. And in this video, we're going to discuss it. In this video, I'm going to discuss just what in the hell happened to Multiversus. Let's get into it.
Hey, boy, you too big to be motherfucking teabagging like that.
Now, as I've stated before, Multiversus, man, this game right here, when it first dropped, this game was on and popping. I mean, for those that's been following me for a little minute, y'all know, bro. I did 6-hour streams on this bitch consistently. You understand what I'm saying? All kind of interactions, all kind of games played on this game, all kind of hours put in on this game. Even went ahead and bought the first season pass. This game was popping. It had its issues, but the game, for what it was when it first dropped, was actually really fun. It was actually really fun to play. I didn't know anybody who wasn't playing it at that time, or at least trying it out. For those that weren't at the time, you know, my bad. But for the people that I've hung around and the people that I associate with, we're playing this game pretty hard. You understand what I'm saying? Because like I said, it was really fun when it first dropped. It was something, it was Smash Brothers like, but it was something for Warner Brothers. And then I think, honestly, what really sold this game when it first dropped was the possibilities. What do I mean by that? The possibilities of all the different characters you could have brought into this game. It's a WB product. WB owns a whole lot of shit. If you haven't noticed, for those that don't know, they own a whole lot of shit. If you don't believe me, just go watch the latest Space Jam movie just to get a glimpse of all that they got their fingerprints on. You understand what I'm saying? This is WB, the rival to Disney. You understand what I'm saying? There's Disney and then there's WB. They neck and neck. You understand what I'm saying? And for very good reasons. For very, very good reasons. And I think the possibilities of this game is what sold it, because you can look at everything WB, you look at all the superheroes you can bring. There were even still talks about Mortal Kombat characters coming to this game, to all the different, you know, superheroes and villains that ultimately did end up coming to this game. All the different, you know, superheroes and villains that ultimately did end up coming to this game. It was just all the possibilities on this game were endless. And you also have to think too, not only from just a character standpoint that this game have endless possibilities, but also from different things, from skins, different game modes you could have put in here, all the different ways you could have added, the different nerfs, the different buffs, the different moves you could have completely added to characters. Like I said, the possibilities on this game were truly endless, and I think that's ultimately what drove this game to the heights that it was. This game broke all kind of records when it first released, and like I said, deservedly so. When this game first dropped, it was really, really fun to play. It was really, really fun to play. And then it became not so fun to play. For instance, ultimately, the game stopped. I think ultimately the first patch of this game is what ultimately killed it. And here's why. You can't drop a fighting game. As we've seen time after time after time. You can't, any game in particular, but you specifically can't drop a fighting game that has the issues that this game had upon release and beyond first patch. For instance, hitbox issues, priority hitbox issues from certain characters, from characters like the Iron Giant, from characters like, you know, Finn, from characters like Jake, from characters like Shaggy. You understand what I'm saying? Where you literally just have to spam a certain move or spam a certain combo and you'll ultimately get the advantage. And you can't have that kind of long term. That's not a good idea to have, because one, what it'll do is it'll water down the player roster. What it'll do is it'll, instead of everybody just having different characters to play with, everybody will ultimately start playing with the exact same characters, doing the exact same thing, which ultimately leads to the game getting boring. And ultimately, the player base does what this game's player base does. It ultimately just disappears out of nowhere. It literally, and to be honest with y'all guys, this game is not even a year old. It seems like this game dropped maybe 2 or 3 years ago or some shit, right? But guys, this game is not even a year old. and it was already over and done with. And I know you got the people out there that say, "Oh well, it's a Smash anything that's a Smash Brothers knockoff usually don't last because Smash Brothers got the legacy." And hell, to each his own. Honestly, I wouldn't even disagree with that. But I don't think that this game failed ultimately because it was simply just a knockoff of Smash Brothers. I honestly think that the first patch and the lack of what needing to be fixed, not getting fixed, is what ultimately killed this game. And what I mean by the first patch, what I also mean about the first patch killing this game is because you literally had them come out with the first patch. They claim they fixed a lot of stuff. There was a whole bunch of patch notes. I did a whole video on it. They had a whole bunch of patch notes, but it seems like Player First Games, the developing team that worked on this game, it seemed like to me they ultimately fell into the trap that most modern day games fall into. They touch a lot of stuff that wasn't a problem, and they leave what was a problem completely alone and say, "Oh, we're gonna fix it at a later date." Much like they did with characters again like Bugs Bunny, like Finn. They ultimately said that they nerfed Iron Giant, who you see me using right here on the screen. They ultimately said they nerfed characters like him, but to be honest with you, it felt like he got more of a buff than a nerf. That's just me. I played more with that character than probably any other character on the game, minus Wonder Woman. But to be honest with me, it felt like he got more buff. It felt like he got more of a buff than a nerf. And it just, you can't, and then after that, they went retro silent after that. They call themselves you can't call yourself Player First Games and then go retro silent after the first patch, after the first season. Another thing I think also killed this game was the fact that they didn't really keep up with the content. It was all that hype for Rick and Morty and characters like that. Then it was kind of after Rick and Morty and maybe Black Adam, the game just completely died down. They just completely disappeared on us. You can't really name yourself Player First Games or be a free-to-play game like this and then not be transparent with your player base going forward, because it's ultimately going to die. And that's ultimately what we saw here. What we saw was just a textbook, I don't want to call it a cash grab, but it kind of feels that way. But it was ultimately just, it felt like more of a flavor of the month cash grab versus a game that they actually wanted to use long term and have people enjoy long term. And that's what I ultimately think killed this game. But that's just my opinion. Y'all let me know down in the comment section what y'all think about that. As long as y'all may respect my logic and we can have a conversation. But that's the end of my video. Hope y'all enjoyed. It's been a pleasure making it for y'all, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.